going on, yo? It's your boy JH Gibbons in.
We'll see.
And welcome to yet another episode of the Achromous podcast, episode 73. That is 73 straight weeks of content, 73 straight weeks of gems. Each and every week, we're bringing to you hot. Each and every week, we're bringing it to you immediately. We have not missed one. So here's what I want you to do. If you are listening on Spotify or on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, we thank you wherever you are in the world. Thank you for putting your ears to your AirPods or however you're listening. Thank you for joining us once again. If you're watching us, it's a different story. Here's what we need you to do, because most likely you're watching us on YouTube. I want you to hit that like button. I need you to hit that subscribe button, please. And that notification bell will help you. Here's how it'll help you. If you're on YouTube tomorrow or sometime during the week and you're scrolling through, you'll be able to see the Achromous podcast. You'll be able to see this exact episode, and we'll be able to give it to you in so many different ways. And most of all,
each one of those things that Jay just asked you to do is not going to cost you anything. It's free to do so because it's going to be something you benefit from, something that you enjoy. So if you do like what we're giving out, this is your first time listening in, and you're like, you know what, these brothers know, they own to something, then stick around because we got more to come. So please be sure to like our content, subscribe, smash that like button like it's no tomorrow. Turn on that notification bell so you can get all these gems each and every week. And then we got so much in the vault that you can just go back and check it out. If you need a little picker upper, need something to help you, whatever you're dealing with in life, go look back, see what our episodes are about. Guarantee you benefit from it.
Absolutely. It kind of brings a tear to my eye that there are so many different expensive things in the world, especially nowadays. If you're living in the world, you'll see that gas prices are up. The cost to build a house is up. The cost to live in a house is up. All of these different things are up. Achromous is up too, but not even in that financial side where you're still able to get this without a cost. That is an unbelievable thing. You should take advantage of this unbelievable opportunity that you have. That is limited, but it is still an opportunity. Do not let these opportunities pass you by, because you just don't know when the next one will come. We'll see what a week it has been, man. I could say personally for me, when it came to lifting, I got back to my roots again. When we were able to go to the gym, I actually encouraged my wife to go on a journey of lifting with me, because there are some lifting goals that she wanted to hit. And I wanted to make sure that she was a part of the journey with me. So we were able to start from scratch this week. We started from what her purpose is, where she wants to go. We found out exactly how she was going to get there. And then the most important part, of course, is the action. So this past week, we spent plenty of time in the gym. We're getting it. She was able to see exactly what I have been doing in the gym all these days when she wasn't able to accompany me. But now that she's part of this journey, now that she wants to not just change her body, but to change her mind, to change where she's going in life, to change what she's doing, I was able to bring her on this journey with me. So it's only been 1 week, but it's been a great week. It's been a week of truly understanding how tough it is going to be to change certain habits that we've all had in the past, and that includes me as well. So I want to say the advice that we've been able to dish out last week is something that I was able to take into this week. No, I am not taking PEDs. Let me just say that right now.
Hey,
I know we did get some comments. We did get some comments. I am not doing that. I am not doing that, but I am sure to get I'm sure to get an adequate amount of protein. I'm sure to decrease that caloric intake a bit, not to the point where I'm starving, but the point where I'm able to sustain and still be at a deficit. Drinking a ton more water. Look, last night in my house, it tends to be a lot hotter upstairs. Of course, heat rises. So last night it was, oh my God, it was tough in my room. So had a whole bottle. I was just sitting there guzzling that thing all night, man. But because of the heat, because of all that stuff, been able to take in more water. And it has helped tremendously this week. I feel stronger. I don't feel as sore as I used to in the past. That lactic acid buildup is still there, but because of the consistency that I've been able to have this week, more than some other weeks, to be honest. It's definitely helped me. So if you have not had a chance to listen to the entirety of episode 72, where we talk about those tips when it comes to muscle building, when it comes to really starting over and beginning from scratch on this new muscle building journey that you may have, if that is where your goals are, I want you to take those notes, take a notebook with you to the gym, understand exactly what your purpose is, what you're trying to build on, what you're trying to look like at the end. And that progress, allow that progress to be your motivation factor. When you're looking in the mirror and you see your chest is a little bit stronger, guys, your biceps are a little bit bigger, ladies, the legs are just a little bit stronger, the midsection's a little bit smaller, you will be encouraged to continue to go. You will be encouraged to continue to grow. You'll be encouraged to get better. So why not continue to be on this new wave that you're on? Summer's right around the corner. So it is absolutely vital that you get it all together, man.
Yeah. The time is now. Shout out to you, Rock. So, just making sure that you're taking care of yourself the right way. That's for you as best you can. Just being mindful, just trying to discipline yourself to accomplish those many milestones that you have in place so that you can look as good as you feel as often as you can, right? And we understand, like, we all go through it. Life events and things come into play that kind of hinders the progression, but the key to it is to stay committed to yourself, right? To just kind of stay locked in as you're going through what you must go through, and not forgetting yourself, because you deserve it, because you're worth it. So you want to feel good. You want to be the best you can be. And hey, look, contrary to what people like to hear, like, if you can't get to where you're trying to go this summer, that's totally fine, because we're giving you the gems and the tools right now to build yourself as we're transitioning from summer to get ready for next year for 2023, right? So take the time to know that this is like a tortoise in the hare sort of approach, where you gotta build, right? Repetition, build over time. And before you know it, you would have accomplished, be as you would like to be and look and feel, and don't even realize it. Because you took that time to, like, first learn your body, learn how it works, what works for you, what don't. Then you learn about, okay, well, what is good for intake for me to have. What do I need more of? What do I need less of? So you start sculpting that vision you got, and then that's it, man. Like, the rest is in the results, and that's the beautiful part about it. You get in what you put out, so you will see your results with time. So be kind in the process too with yourself. If there's anything I could say, it's one thing I realized: you got to be kind with yourself. You gotta, it's good. It's good to be your own motivator, your own worst critic at times, but, like, you gotta love yourself in the process too, and be realistic. And kudos to you, Jay and Bree, for doing your thing, and doing it together, because it's so much better when you have a partner too. Yeah. So very proud of you guys and your journey. I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going. You guys are sticking with the 21-3 method. Just disciplining yourself. So I see number of great things ahead for you guys and everyone that's listening. We see nothing but great things for you too. We want to hear your stories as well.
For sure. And we will keep everybody updated, on how everything goes. I know we've been taking some progress photos. We're doing a lot. So we want to be as transparent with our journey as possible, so that others who are listening can be a part of that journey as well. So we had a great week, and we will continue to build upon what we've been able to do thus far. So I'm excited for next week. I'm excited for the future. And that brings me to the future of Achromous. Now, of course, everybody knows we had an episode a couple of weeks ago about entrepreneurship, right? And there are always difficulties when it comes to building businesses. I'm sure anyone out there who's doing that right now, exactly what we're talking about, right? It takes time. it takes nourishment. You gotta really feed the beast, and that's what we've been doing. So a couple of weeks ago, we announced the launch of achromosfitness.com. And we would like to say that the website is still active for those who are looking to learn more about what we do, because we get that question a lot, right? Achromous, like, what does that even mean? It's all there. You type in achromosfitness.com, you can see what we're about. You can see how we started. You can see our humble beginnings. You could see what we would be able to solve for you. You could see exactly how we can become the foundation for your new life in fitness or in life in general. We serve that particular purpose. Now, on the flip side of that, of course, there is the store aspect of it. And right now we are doing some changes internally, for us to be able to bring the best experience we possibly can to you. So we want you to be patient with us. We want you to bear with us, as we continue to grow that out a bit. But we do want to say that Achromous Fitness is still live. Achromous Fitness is still popping. So if you need some advice on fitness, if you need to hear some of these podcast episodes, if you want to learn more about what it is that we do, that is the hub for everything Achromous. And we will continue to build it out. We'll continue to rock. And I guarantee you it is going to be a great summer for you and us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out the Achromous store, you got to check it out, guys. It's a lot of content that we have there. Again, it gives you a more in-depth insight to who we are. I mean, a lot of the times, to just break that fourth wall real quick, a lot of the times you get a lot of podcasts and get a lot of people to give you a source of the content out there, but they have no identity. You don't know who the hell they are. But this is your way of understanding who we are, us giving you reassurance to invest your time into us, because we're genuinely here to see you grow as much as we're growing through the process as well. And who wouldn't want to be a part of something that's good? Nowadays it's this, contrary to morals, whatnot, you could weigh scale what's good or bad, right? But you know what you feel. So this is a movement you can get a part of and become that is a feel good thing, because it's about, self-development. It's about the betterment of you. So we want to make sure you understand that. You understand at this point what our purpose is and what we're striving to do in the direction we're aiming to grow and go and to affect on a global scale. This is what we're hoping to accomplish. And we understand we can't do this without your support, which is why we stress and emphasize so much about liking our content. If you genuinely are watching, keeping an eye on it, sharing it, if you believe in what you're hearing, and it's meaningful, and you feel as though it can be impactful to not just you but somebody else, because each one teach one, right? And we're no experts. We don't claim to be an expert or anything. However, we are going through life in this journey just like you. But we're here to share our triumphs, share what the moments of our shortcomings, but that we are consistent and not giving up. And we're consistent to be better men, better friends, husband, father, in my case, whatever. We're just trying to be better people because we can be. And this is what Achromous is about. It's a movement of no creed, no race, no nothing, but what's in here, right? So be a part of that if you really desire to be better for yourself and grow. And you're willing, and more importantly, you choose to, because a lot of people forget that part, Jay. It's a choice. So I just had to kind of break that wall for a moment. I put it back up. We can continue doing our thing. It's dropping these gems, but just need to drop that heavy one for you guys, because you got to know, like, we want you really to understand what we're about, who we are.
Yeah, no, I think it is important to understand what your identity is. And, I would say if you have been coming here for the past 73 straight weeks, there are so many different gems in each one of our podcast episodes. And while there are a lot of similarities between each of those episodes, there are many different gems that you could use to implement in your life now. And I think that's a huge understated value that we provide to you, is that, as we always say, this comes at no cost. The only thing that we would ask you is that you invest in yourself. because that is where it all starts, right? Once you decide to put yourself first, once you understand exactly where you're going, what your goals are, how you want to accomplish it, so you have that roadmap drawn out, and the 21-3 method can do exactly that. It'll allow you to be where you want to be. It'll allow you to actually get there, because I know so many people out there have been struggling for years to get to that point because they just didn't know how to start. Well, no more for that. No more for that. Now you have a literal guide to help you start. You have a community that'll help you build towards that. So now it's time to take advantage of your own life, take advantage of the situations that you are in, take advantage of the opportunities that you get every single week when you're able to listen to these episodes, and just move forward one step at a time. I guarantee you, you will be better for it because of it. And of course, today we wanted to talk about yet another option for you to get better, another opportunity for you to improve if you so choose to do so. Now, we've been in this whole summer body special that we've been putting together for these past couple of weeks. Of course, last week we were on the muscle building side, and I know we had a particular audience for that. And shout out to those who were able to tell us about their own story and tell us about some of the tips we were providing to say, hey, yeah, this is something I fully agree with, or I don't know if that works so much. We appreciate both sides. We encourage the freedom of speech here. So if we are saying things that you agree with, please let us know. If you agree with it as well, let us know too. We love growing. We love growing with you. We love growing with each other, and we're growing as a community. That's what it's all about. So today is another element of growth, not necessarily in the way of belly fat. We don't want to grow belly fat. In fact, we want to go the opposite way. We want to understand how to burn it. So today, if you are out there, I know for many of you, it's a Sunday if you're listening to it the first time this comes out, but if you're anywhere during the week, if you're somewhere in the future and you're listening to this and you need a quick pick me up and you need some advice, some tips to take with you in the gym, you can literally pop in your ear pods, take this with you while you're on your cardio machine, or while you're doing your crunches, while you're doing your push-ups, whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing, you can listen to this and apply it immediately. That is the beauty of what we do. So we'll see. Let's dive into this and talk about 5 different ways that we can learn how to burn fat. So just on the personal side of things, there was a time where my ultimate goal was to lose a ton of belly fat, right? To be as small as I possibly can, to be as skinny as I possibly can, so to speak. And there was a avenue that I took that I would not recommend for anybody. And it's probably some of the avenues that a lot of the celebrities or a lot of the bodybuilders that you see take now, whether it's diuretics, whether it's a crash diet, so to speak, where they are on a caloric deficit that is not sustainable. And we always talk about sustainability here in the podcast because that is the key to long-term growth. That is the key to making sure that whatever route you choose, you can use that same route 100% of the time. Of course, there are going to be tweaks based on age. You know, as we age, it gets a little bit tougher to lose that weight. It gets a little bit tougher to build that muscle mass. But as long as you're able to understand what that foundation is for your own body, you can then tweak it, you can manipulate it, and that's the fun about it. You can see yourself change throughout the years, and you can continue to grow throughout the years. So for me, I had to understand myself a little bit better, we'll see, because I was not going to be able to sustain salads every single day without any sort of other protein, without any sort of carbs, nothing, just eating straight lettuce, eating kale, eating all of those things was just not sustainable to me. Now, I know there are others out there that are really, you understand your body, you understand how you can manipulate it and how it works for you to be able to build that. So I'm not crushing anybody who may be vegan, who may only consume salads on a daily basis. Shout out to you. That was not me. And I had to learn that the hard way because what would happen, we'll see, is now, of course, for my bodybuilders out there, for those who do lift weights, you know how difficult it is to not have any energy going to the gym when you're lifting weights, and you're lifting heavy weights when you're on a severe caloric deficit. And that's what I was, right? It wasn't just the calories that I was losing, it was the energy. I had absolutely no energy going into the gym. So certain weights that I had no issue putting up, you know, 10, 15 reps on, I could barely get 5 now because I just didn't have the juice within me. I didn't have that energy to push. And so I knew, okay, if I wanted to lose weight, which I still did and I still do to this day, I knew that there were certain things that I had to manipulate within my diet to work for myself. And I don't necessarily want to use the word diet because diet tends to be short term. It tends to be something that, yeah, there may be some immediate results to it. But if we're talking about long term sustainability, it is not there. So I had to make some nutritional tweaks. I had to change, the amount of calories that I was cutting, right? It was not safe for me to go from consuming maybe 2,500 calories on a daily basis to now consuming 700 or 800, right? That's unsustainable. And I wouldn't be able to hold on to that. In fact, my body would be like, yo, Jay, what are you doing? I need to hold on to some of this. So I am going to hold on to some of this extra fat so that I can store it as energy later on. And that's exactly what was happening. Yeah, on the scale, the numbers were going down, but my body wasn't changing as much. My body wasn't taking to the severe caloric deficit that I had. And seeing how some of these actors or actresses or anybody in entertainment, seeing how a lot of them decided they wanted to do these crash diets too, I was encouraged to do the same thing. Look, we'll see. I know I've mentioned this on some podcasts before, but mentally, sometimes I would tell myself, okay, Jay, you've got a movie that you've got to prepare for, right? Here's when you're going to start shooting for this movie. So you got to be in tip top shape. You got to have the look. You got to have the physique. You got to be ready for it, right? Number one, the route that I took again was unsustainable. And it was just too soon for me to be able to expect to lose a certain amount of weight in a short period of time and to be able to sustain that and keep that off for a long period of time. And oh, by the way, for a lot of these actors and actresses, once they're done shooting, they go right back to that same physique that they had prior to losing that weight. Or in some cases, they get even bigger or they lose a ton of the muscle mass that they had because going to the gym, working out as hard as they were, doing everything to the level of extreme that they were doing it was not sustainable. So once they were done shooting, they went back to the old habits that they had. And that is not something that I wanted to do. However, that is exactly what happened because I was following that same path. So because I know a lot of these celebrities, a lot of the influencers have a ton of following and they have a ton of influence on a lot of us, including myself. We'll see. I know you've seen some of those as well. And those of you in our community, we know that there's a lot of crossover between us and them. But we wanted to be able to bring it from a more realistic standpoint, which may not be as exciting to a lot of you to hear that it takes time to lose that belly fat and it takes time to lose fat in general, but it is the way to go because you are able to live a sustainable life. You won't be as hungry because your body can understand how to adjust. You'll be looking in the mirror and 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you see that your body still looks the exact same because you have not jumped back into those old habits as you had prior. So all of those things we try to take into account, especially if we're going to serve as the foundation for this new lifestyle that you're trying to build. The foundation has to be strong. So this is the avenue that we wanted to take and we wanted to dive in. So let's dive in. Exactly. You've heard now where I've been able to come from. We'll see. I don't know if you wanted to take a step back and discuss some of the journeys that you've had to go through in terms of the body fat that you've had to burn before we really get into these tips that we want to provide to our community.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. I'm open book sharing my journey along the way, even still to this day of like adjustments that I try to make. Yeah, for me, when I really started to get really into it, when naturally I'd work out just like anyone else. You start out just working out, right? You don't really have a game plan. You just kind of, or some cases some do, but like for the most part, you like look overall. I just want to look good, right? Now that was initially my case. I wanted to feel good about myself. I wanted to love myself. I wanted to take care of myself. That was where I wanted to live. So that was my journey. my choice of like dedicating to myself to it. Now, when I started to really get into it, the weight that I had started to, gradually come off because although there's unaware of it, I was pushing close somewhere between 260, close to 270. And that's not really a great thing when you're like, like 5'7.5", 5'8". That's not good. It's too much mass you're carrying around in your body frame and structure. And everyone's different. You're built different. But for me, it's too much weight. The biggest I ever been. So I was mindful to understand that it was going to be a tedious process to losing the weight. Like it was not going to come right away. And that was the difference in what I tried to approach it than before in the past, where before I wanted instant gratification. I wanted instant results. I needed it now. So I would say, I'm going to give myself a month. I'm going to drop 20 pounds, 25 pounds, 30 pounds. Now, realistically, I can probably get to about half of that or close to it. But like Jay mentioned, I gained right back because of lack of consistency and like discipline. But more importantly, I wasn't giving my body the sufficient time it needed to process and mature itself for what I was trying to accomplish. And I think that's where you have to really be focused on, because I know that's what happened with myself, where, I mean, now what, a couple of years, 2, 3, I'm going to 3 years later, Jay, now I sustain my body mass and like weight to like and body fat to a place that's comfortable, right? Where right now my body fat for me is, the last time I checked, it was about like 20.8%. So it's like for me, for my frame, and you factor in like bone density, what's working with that, my water weight, what that looks like. That's more my focus now, is my water weight than anything. But I had to work myself down, where my body fat was before was like 32, 33 something. I feel like it was just would be considered as obese, right? And I had to work over time, but like for me, like I did like a lot of more cardio related workouts. I ran a lot. And naturally certain things I just kind of stopped eating, not because it was like, oh, I got to go on a diet. And that's the one thing I can say and attest to, is that this round of me like learning how to take it and create a lifestyle, I didn't approach it from a diet perspective, because I feel like when you do that, you put too much of a emphasis and stress on yourself, that you're not appreciating the journey along the way. You're not appreciating the time and effort you're putting into yourself, because you're setting a metric as like, okay, this is what I got to stick by. Like I've tried keto, I've tried any diet you could think of. I've tried liquids. Jay tried it too, but you ask yourself, why isn't it sustainable? Because we put too much on ourselves, we put too much restraint on our bodies. So I think for me, when I started to notice the decrease of it, then I realized like my eating habits started to adjust, where I stopped eating a lot of greasy foods on a regular basis. I started eating a lot of things that was high in like fat content. For me, I transitioned like pretty much like I'd say about like 95% off of pork. Like I barely touch anything related to it. Just, and that was just along the way of my process and my journey. It wasn't intentional initially, but like now I'm mindful of it, because it doesn't do any good for my body. I don't like the way it makes me feel, for me personally. And even with beef and meat, like I eat more poultry, like, more chicken, more turkey, seafood, along those lines. Like I've been transitioning more to that way, and that's kind of what happens when you start to see those results. And what you got to keep in mind is, with the weight loss part and keeping it off, you have to adjust it as you go along, as your body starts to age and mature too. Because, like, for example, like I know like there's certain things I eat before, like I'll eat that are like anything grain related, or like wheat, like that blows me up like immediately. Like I get that right away. Like, so I can't eat it a lot. I have to portionalize how much I decide I choose to eat. So I can still enjoy it, but I don't have to worry about that fat sticking on and making it harder to get off because my body is older. You know, what stuff I was able to burn in my 20s, I can't burn as easy as I burn now. Even with my workout regimens, you know, it's not as easy. And you have to not be as hard on yourself about that because it's a part of the process. And truth be told, no pads, but there are, you know, pills and things out here. Matter of fact, look, I have a whole kit of pills I take. Each one of these is filled up. I take every day of different supplements that I use for my body to help replenish the things that I can't naturally produce as much of because I'm, you know, I'm male in my mid 30s. Like, you know, I can't get certain things like that as easy.
Yeah.
So that all comes with the part of like recognizing what's happening, you know, when you're trying to, they say lose that fat, or you're trying to, you know, burn around the midsection, you know, you're trying to, you know, tone your legs, your back, your shoulder, whatever you're trying to do. If you apply yourself, you're gonna, the weight will come off with the time. Is I guess what I'm trying to get to. It'll come off. So let's say this, right? You set a realistic goal, 365 days in a year, right? Let's say maybe you just for this year alone, you want to drop 40 pounds. That's could be doable. You got 365 days. So then you start break it down from months to weeks, and doesn't seem so like, you know, far, right? It doesn't seem like it's not achievable. And in doing so, dig this, like as you're breaking that down, that body fat that you're so worried about, I promise you'll start to see that kind of decrease itself naturally, and you're not gonna have to worry about stressing and putting a strain on it. Now, here's the thing, and you gotta, it's crazy, like crazy as we all do this to ourselves. Unless you are a professional athlete at the highest level, do not put that strain on yourself. Do not do it because you want to apply and push yourself as best you can, but these folks are paid to do that. Like this is their career choice. Now, if you're aspiring for this to be your career, then it comes with the territory. But put yourself through a realistic regimen that is manageable, that you can adjust with your life events, but that you stay consistent because that's the key. The moment you stop being consistent in what you're doing, all of the effort that you're putting in goes away. And that's just the truth of it. So, you know, I mean, you have to keep that in mind on this journey of like losing weight because, as I said before, my body fat percentage of where it's at, where now I've had it sustainable and I haven't hit it. I haven't had to hit as hard in my workout, but I've adjusted it because my body's maturing. So I'm still paying attention to, okay, maybe I can't eat much of this anymore. Maybe if I could tweak my workout and do a little bit more of this, and I'm still getting the results that I need. Again, just fulfilling myself with the supplements that I need. Going to, you know, get different types of vitamins that I need for my body to help. And if you're doing those things and you have those little mini milestones, you still win. You know, because the key to it is once you hit that goal, how do you sustain it, right? Because hitting a goal to me is not the problem at all. I believe anybody can hit their goal that they set for it. What comes after that is for me is the challenge because I've hit my goals, like I hit all of them, and the hardest part for me was just sustainability afterwards, which is why we emphasize so hard on you know the method we created, 21-3 method, and we stand by it because it works, because it teaches you how to discipline yourself thereafter the goal so that you can sustain a healthy lifestyle of just, you know, living in whatever area you want to do. But since we're focused on weight loss, like applying these methods is gonna help you be able to track it better. We're not looking for a super scientific way of breaking this down. This is not what I'm going to give you. I'm giving you very simplistic terms. Like pace yourself in what you're doing. If you can, you know, get a scale that'll show you what that looks like. And then, you know, set yourself on a calorie intake per day, like James mentioned, like 2,500. 2,800, something that's realistic. Now, again, factoring in unless you're an athlete. So that's why, like for me, with my body fat percentage, I'm okay with where it's at. Can I get it lower? Yeah, I've had it lower, and I chose that I wanted to increase it more because I'm not an athlete to that degree. I'm not professionally an athlete, but I put myself in the same state of mind, like what Jay said. Like I've done that, and I put myself through these training camps because I've had my experience with boxing and like that sort of physical activity. So I understand what comes with putting yourself through a training camp, and I give myself like a modest version of that now, just so I can stay fit. And I do it just for myself. So don't beat yourself up too hard, but adjust your methods in the process and journey of weight loss and like burning body fat, because you're going to need to do that so you can continue to get results. Because if you can't do that, then you will hit a place where you couldn't. And then at that point, it's harder because then you're ready to give up. And you don't want to do that because you deserve the best for you.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of gems that you touched on there. We'll see. Besides the fact that yes, professional athletes, they get paid millions and millions of dollars to do this. And if you're watching any sort of the professional sports that are taking place here in the US, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, they are getting an incredible amount of money right now. I know in the past they've gone on record, both Russell Wilson, quarterback for the Denver Broncos now, and LeBron James, a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, they both went on record saying they spend a million, if not a little bit more, on their bodies. And that doesn't just mean lifting, right? That doesn't mean just the supplementation. A lot of that is recovery too. And that is why longevity, at least for both LeBron and Russell and Tom Brady, another example, that's why longevity is around them, because they are taking care of their bodies. They found something that they are able to sustain year in and year out. That's why they are on the top of their games, even when they are much older now. So I think it goes without saying that the proof is in the pudding. Even if you don't hear from us, look at some of these athletes who are doing it at such a great level. They're sustaining that, right? A lot of them knew that, okay, I don't need to be as big as I was in the past. I don't need to be as fast as I was in the past. These are the things that I know I need to stick with for longevity purposes. And once you start using that type of mentality and you take that approach to fitness, you are definitely going to get the results that you want. Not only are you going to be able to get those results, but you're going to be able to sustain it. You're going to learn more about your body, which is also important. And then on that same front, you'll know exactly what it takes to manipulate it in order for it to work for the goals that you have. So it's all about really learning yourself, understanding yourself, and knowing where things go. But if we want to go into those tips that we were talking about, especially those 5 tips that we wanted to mention, I would say that first, number one, would be that 21-3 method. We'll see. I know you mentioned it already. This method is literally the foundation of your fitness journey. So use it as such, right? You see exactly, you get to understand a lot more about you. And that is the beauty of it. We'll see. When we were creating this, that was the one aspect I wanted to learn more, is about you. And in essence, you learn more about yourself, right? Retelling that story, understanding what it took to get to where you were, understanding what your purpose was and why you really wanted to get into this. That was vital to understand exactly how you're going to get to that destination. And as you mentioned, you've already crushed those goals that you had. And now, with that foundation that you had to start off, you know exactly how to manipulate things to get to the other goals that you are planning to accomplish. So it's all about continuous growth. It's all about sustainable growth. And that 21-3 method is that foundation for your fitness journey, for you to really understand where it is you want to go, how to get started. The 21-3 method will help you. So that would be tip number one. Tip number two, I know we talked about it as well, but caloric deficit, right? Being able to drop your caloric intake will help you burn fat. It's pretty simple, right? Calories in versus calories out, or CICO for others who've used that method before. It's not necessarily a diet, so to speak, but it is a manipulation of the calories that you're consuming versus the ones that you're burning on a daily basis. Daily basis, what does that actually mean, right? You got to measure, right? You got to understand exactly the amount of calories that you can burn on a sustainable basis every day. Once you're able to calculate that for a week, you will know, okay, this is what my typical week looks like. This is what I'm able to burn. And that doesn't necessarily mean you busting your ass at the gym every single day, burning 5,000 calories a day. Again, we want to talk about sustainability. We want to talk about longevity. So you have to know exactly what that looks like for you, right? You think about what you do for your job. Do you have more of a sedentary lifestyle when you're at work? Are you sitting in front of a computer? How often do you get up to go to the cooler to get some water, to, maybe take the stairs to go get your lunch? Whatever it is, like those things are things that you need to take track of and understand exactly if that is something that you could do on a sustainable basis. Maybe you take the stairs for some floors and the elevators for others. Maybe instead of sitting in front of your desk for the whole day, maybe you get up every hour or so to just walk around, maybe have a discussion with your own boss, or to follow up on some other items, or just take a lap around the building. Whatever it is that you know that you can sustain in order to keep up that caloric deficit, if it is that your lifestyle is not as intense as a CrossFit trainer or a CrossFit athlete, then those are certain things that you may want to do. Once you understand exactly how much calories you burn a week on a sustainable basis, you'll understand how much you need to consume in order to make sure that you have some type of deficit there. So that is an important aspect, is actually part of learning yourself more based on what you do, based on how you're living your life. Make sure that you understand exactly what that caloric deficit looks like for you. Another aspect, another tip that we could provide for you in terms of burning fat would be to understand that fiber is your friend, right? So part of my journey, and I'm sure your journey will see, and many journeys of people in our community, you had to try to understand how you could sustain your ability to eat consistently without getting hungry, right? Because those hunger pains, especially when you start to be on a caloric deficit, oh my God, they would kill you. They
Yeah,
would
you're right.
absolutely destroy your stomach, man. I mean, there are times where I tend to stay up a little bit later at night, and I'm in bed, and it's like midnight or 1 a.m. and my belly is just rumbling. When
Mhm.
typically, if I'm asleep at 9 or 10 and I'm able to stay asleep, I don't get that. So it took me a while to really understand my schedule of eating, so to speak. When should I stop eating? What should be my last meal in order to take me over to the next day? What could I do to manipulate the macros in order for it to work for me? And I personally learned for myself, from my own body, that fiber is my friend. Not only does it allow me to allow some assistance to my digestive system, but it just helps your body feel full without that greasy full feeling. And the
Mhm.
difference for those who have been eating healthy versus those who are still trying to work on themselves in that aspect. That greasy full feeling is the feeling that you get. You just want to lay down. You don't want to move around much. You can't. You know what I'm saying? You're just a dud at that point. You're
I
just
don't
laying
miss
down.
those days.
Oh my God, I hate it. I hate those days. You lose a whole day, right?
Mhm.
Versus the feeling of feeling satisfied, right? That's the difference. My body is
Yeah.
satisfied. I'm able to use the energy I've been able to consume. I've eaten those greens. I may have eaten some oats. I've taken certain supplements to help increase that fiber intake across the board for my body. And I
Hey Jim,
guarantee you, once you do that, yeah,
just to add on to that, just a quick. Would
sure.
you say antioxidant drinks and things like that are
Yep.
another good method as
Yep.
well, like, or like flaxseed?
Yep.
Like I use flaxseed sometimes in my cereal.
Yep.
Um, so I know we talked about that before. So are those some of the things, for the viewers, if they're thinking like, okay, well, how do I go about it? Or like any suggestions or like
Right.
things along the ways like that? Are those also good things to help with the fiber?
Those are absolutely great things. Those are all high in fiber. Even if you're looking at really dark green, leafy vegetables, those spinach,
Mm-hmm.
kale, all of those aspects. And what I typically do, we'll see, you mentioned a shake. I make my own drink as well later on in the evening. It consists of protein. It's very high in fiber. I'd put maybe some apples in there, ginger, kale, spinach, all of those things I mix in the drink. and it's sustainable, right? I know I'm able to continuously do it because A, I like the taste, B, I love how it makes me feel after, right? So those aspects of it help me to do that. So yes, absolutely, we'll see flax seeds help, oats help, leafy greens help, antioxidants help. Anything that you can do to increase that dietary fiber that you have will help you to better yourself in terms of being able to burn fat and sustain that for the long run. So my tip three, I know it goes along with consuming, but drink more water. Right. The one aspect, like I was a huge fan of carbonated beverages, and not necessarily soda. I wasn't. There you go. Boom, water right there. Already drank mine, so I have nothing to show you guys. But I would say this, like I was a huge fan of carbonated beverages, man. I always used to drink, it wasn't necessarily soda, but it would be a ton of like flavored seltzer water. And the one thing I did not know about that is that after a while, it could lead to certain things that you did not necessarily expect. When I was drinking that a lot, I tend to get bloated, right?
Yes.
A lot of those carbonated beverages tend to bloat a little bit. So that's something that I saw with myself. Another thing, especially if I was to drink those carbonated beverages at night, I would be terrible at sleeping. I could not stay asleep drinking those beverages for whatever reason. I don't know the science behind it, but I would stay up. It would keep me up. And I don't know if it was just, it had to do with a lot of the gas that it ends up producing within my body. And just that going down was not something that was smooth. And I don't suggest you drinking that, going to bed anyway. But drink more water. The one thing that I've been able to do, and I think I mentioned this earlier on in this episode, is to be able to drink water at night. I have a nice bottle of water next to my bed, not just in case I get thirsty, but even if I'm just trying to keep track of my water intake throughout the week, it's something that I've been able to do. And this is coming from somebody who has not necessarily been a huge fan of drinking water. I'm guilty of I'm guilty of sin for that. I've not necessarily loved it, but over time I've been able to intertwine it a little bit and put it into my nutritional journey. Right, I've been able to add that more into it, and now I'm so used to drinking water, I can't see my life without it. So again, it takes time to implement certain things into your nutritional journey, into whatever your lifestyle is now. But in terms of burning fat, that helped me tremendously.
Mm. Oh
And
yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah.
yep, I would say the final aspect, so to speak, is of course exercise. Right, exercise is like the way. I wanted to save the best for last. I'm sure you guys listen like,
Hey, there's no way
what the hell?
around
You
it,
didn't
right?
even touch on exercise. That is the key to burning fat, right? Now, of course, we always talk about, your physique and all of that is really built in the kitchen because you are what you eat. You have to make sure that your nutrition is sound. But if you really want to burn those calories, you really want to burn that fat really, really quickly, you have to implement some exercise. Now, what type of exercises should I do? It really just depends on your goals. Now, if you, of course, since we're talking about burning fat, you're going to want to increase those cardiovascular exercises that you're doing at the gym. That doesn't necessarily mean you're just on the treadmill, you're just on the bike, you're just on the elliptical, you're just on the rowing machine, you're just doing those battle ropes. It doesn't necessarily mean you just have to do that. But the one thing you would want to do, especially if you're still doing some type of resistance training, is to decrease that rest time that you have. The standard rest time that people typically use is about 60 seconds to 90 seconds. Try to work your way into decreasing that from 60 seconds to 45 seconds, and then from 45 seconds to 30 seconds. But make sure that that journey that you're taking with decreasing that rest time is sustainable. I'm not saying you go to the gym one day and you do it from your rest period is 60 seconds and then the next day is 45, the next day is 30. You're not going to be able to sustain. You're not going to be able, your body's not going to be able to adjust quicker enough. The way I always do it, we'll see, is if I see myself being able to maintain 60 seconds, I then drop it to that 45 seconds or even 50 seconds just to see how my body adjusts. Once my body is comfortable and says, hey, Jay, you are ready to move on. Your body has been able to have grown accustomed to the rest periods that you're putting on it. Now it's time to move on to a lower side. right? Then I go to 45, then I drop and I drop. I typically don't go below the 30-second mark unless I'm doing circuit training. Now,
Mm-hmm.
circuit training, of course, is you would name maybe 6 or 7 different exercises in a specific cycle. That would be your first, and that would be your one set. So let me give you an example. Let's say I wanted to do circuit training for just calisthenics, meaning I'm not really using enough resistance training. I'm not using a barbell or a dumbbell. I'm just using my body weight. So what I would do is I would say, okay, I want to do 10 box jumps. Then I want to do 20 push-ups. Then I want to do 30 jumping jacks. Then I want to do 40 body weight squats. And then, maybe 50 crunches, right? I would do all of those things in one circuit. And once I get to the end, I would rest for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds. That would count as just one cycle. If I want to do 3 cycles, I literally go through that over and over again. And the way that, okay, you're probably asking, all right, so how can I then build my goals onto that? What could be a goal when it comes to circuit training? Well, how quickly can you finish that cycle, right? That is something that you can measure. Your first time it's going to suck. I can guarantee you it's going to be suck. It's going to be terrible for you. Chances are you may not be able to get through each and every one of those exercises, but the point is that you take your time that first time because the goal is finishing. So once you're done with that first cycle, let's say, hell, it takes you 15 minutes to get through that first cycle of those exercises I mentioned. The goal would be that the next time going forward, when you get to the gym or you get to this particular cycle, the next time, I want to decrease that by 30 seconds at least. I want to decrease that entire time by a minute, right? So now I'm 1 minute better than I was the very first time I started. So that is how you're able to build upon the goals and upon this new fitness lifestyle that you've been able to build is by constantly bettering yourself along that journey. And it is a very long-term journey. And so is burning fat and being able to hold on to that. Building muscle the same way, it takes time. Being able to create a nutritional pattern or nutritional package for yourself that you can hold on to and you can continue to use over time. All of that goes into that summer body that you're trying to build for yourself. So for these past few episodes, we'll see that I know we've touched on where we were in the summer body special. All of these different summer body episodes have been for you to be able to use this and implement in your life today. All of these are actionable items, whether it is drinking more water, whether it is increasing the fiber that you have in your nutritional plan that you're using now, dropping those calories that you're intaking, of course, exercising, and then using the 21-3 method. All of those things will help you on your fat loss journey or your muscle building journey, or trying to create a nutritional plan that works for you specifically. So we'll see. We have now come to the end of our summer body series. It has been a pleasure to deliver these gems for you. But here is where you come in, as we do every single week. It is important that we get that feedback. It is important that we understand that you're growing as well as we're growing in our community. So here's what we want you to do. We want you to tell us in these past few weeks or months, or even if this was a year-long journey for you, how did you burn that fat? And how were you able to keep that fat off? Now, the best story that we get, we will be able to feature on the next episode of the Achromous podcast, so that the entire community that we have is able to hear your story. You want to make your voice heard as much as we want our community to build. So why not join us? Why not be part of this journey? Why not continue to build your summer body in order for you to be living your best life? And of course, use Achromous Fitness, specifically that 21-3 method, as that foundation for your new fitness journey.
Well said, Jay. I couldn't put it any better myself. And you have to ask yourself the simple question: how worth it am I? You got to know your worth. You got to understand you matter. This whole special, everything that we do is consistent as a constant reminder of your worth for you. We're doing this for you. We're doing it for us. And guess what? We get to do it together. And that's the beautiful part of this journey, guys. So we hope that you really enjoyed the special. We hope that you're feeling the flames and you just eager to get to your workout this morning if you haven't had a chance to do it. Whatever that consists of, squeeze in that 10-15 minute workout that you need, something to get you going, just to start getting that gears grinding and moving. And before you know it, man, you'll be where you choose to be. You'll be exactly in the results that you've been desiring, and you'll be feeling your best self, you know? So we really want that feedback. Please let us know what your journey has looked like thus far, where you are, where you aspire to go. You know, if there's any help you may need along the way, any advice, let us know what that looks like. You know, you can go to achromousfitness.com, reach out to us there. We'll be able to hold conversations and discussions about it. You know, this is the open door, you know, so we really want to take your feedback, give some of your advice, some of your tips that you may have that works out there for you as well. We're willing to learn and implement for our own gain too. So, you know, so what we mean by being a community. And we really do hope you enjoy this special, guys.
Absolutely, Will C. We do hope you enjoyed this special. And as Will C said, this is all about community building. Now, the one thing about community building is that we also have to be able to reach out, and we have to be able to hear from our community, not just in our comments, not just in our DMs, but on the Achromous podcast as well. And it has been some time before we've been able to connect with our community members and those in our entire industry who are doing amazing things. So next week we are getting back to where we used to be. We'll see, and that's getting some guests on, man. And I'm excited. This will be a very interesting conversation that we'll be able to have with an artist who is growing and blowing up on the industry. Nyamu, he's the raw talent. We're going to be able to dive in on some conversations with him to let us know exactly how he got started in this artistry journey that he has, what sort of habits he's been able to build to sustain the lifestyle that he's been able to live, and to just see what he's up to, man. I'm excited. This is going to be the first time I'm personally being able to sit down and have a conversation with him. We'll see. I know we'll be able to do this together on the Achromous podcast, and we're once again excited to have another guest on, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is going to be a really good one. It's been a while. We enjoy being able to engage with the community, man, and just really get to learn about awesome people and their journeys, and knowing that they matter and they make a difference. You know, so being able to be this part of it, supported. This is what we love to do, guys. So please tune in. If you haven't had an opportunity to see how it goes when we have guests on, this will be your first time. You can also go back to the vault of gems that we got lined back and see others. And, you know, there's plenty more to come, but we're going to have a great time.
Absolutely. We'll see. I can't wait. So you guys need to join us next Sunday. But before you go, here's what I want to say, just a few words. For those who have been with us from the beginning of this journey to where we are now, I got something to tell you. Before I jump on you for not doing what I think you should do, let me introduce those new who have just joined us on this journey. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Might be your first episode, maybe your second, maybe your third, but you're new. We want to thank you for being a part of this journey and this community. We want to, hey, if you are interested in continuing to build your life, to continue to build yourself, just continue to watch, continue to be a part of it, and continue to take consistent action. That is key. For those who have been here before, now it's your turn to feel the wrath of J.H. Gibbons. You have probably not done this. Maybe you haven't done it at the beginning of this video. You're going to do it now, especially if you're watching us on YouTube. You need to figure out exactly what we are, who we are, and what it is that we do. I'm going to do you one better. Instead of just telling you to go to YouTube, instead of just telling you what to do, I'm going to spell it out for you in case you may have forgotten. Give me a second here. Achromous. Now, if you heard us spell this out, that means that you're listening to us on some sort of podcast platform, whether that is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're hearing us. Again, we thank you for joining us on this Sunday. If you are watching us, here's what I want you to do. I want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so the next time that you hop on YouTube and you're scrolling down that feed, this episode of the Achromous podcast will be one of the very first and probably most important episode that you see on YouTube. Most of all,
Listen, I say this to you every single week, and I plan to keep it coming. But it's a little frustrating when we don't see it happen. Make sure to hit that like button, guys. All of what Jay just mentioned, it's free to do it. So use that liberty that's been given to you and put a course of action to it. Start with that right now as you get ready to get out there and get to your day. And let us know that you've enjoyed what we provided to you and it's been of some use to you. This is how you do it. This is how we know. We can't just assume it. We don't want to just assume it. We want to understand that we are given exactly what you need, you know. So please do these things, guys. We got to make Jay a believer in that term of free and it being put to use. Because we know we wish other things would be a little bit more freer or at least a little lighter on our pockets nowadays. And this doesn't cost you anything but your time and worth of development into you.
Absolutely. This is a worthwhile investment. So why not invest in yourself? There's no selling point there.
There's
Invest
no
in
reason
yourself.
not to.
There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. You hit play, you sit back, you take these gems, and you apply it in your life. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. So we're going to give you a week to do that. You have from this Sunday to next Sunday until we meet again. And we want to hear from you. Let us know about your journey. Let us know about your life. We need to connect. We need to continue to build because you matter and you are so damn worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, until next Sunday, it is your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
See.